Hello, welcome back to my channel. We are going to do the where I do like 2016, at least a few years ago, makeup versus what I wear now. I brought my whole caboodle down, but I don't use many products. So we'll do one side with more full coverage stuff, and then we'll do my current routine and we can see the difference. If that sounds interesting, stick around. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and let's jump in. We're going to start on the dated side. I'm going to use the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. This was one of my favorite ones years ago. I haven't used it. It's probably got some dried bits in the little pump because I haven't used this in a while. I bought a backup of this. This is the backup before Becca went out of business, but I haven't used it in a while. I went between this and like a more gripping primer at one point, but I'm filming this at night, so I'm just gonna wash it off after I'm done. So I figured I would just do this one because I'm not leaving it on. Okay, for foundation, I decided to go with the ABH Luminous. I wear, at least I did, in 150W. This one is decent with a brush, so I'm just gonna pump some on my hand. I can't get into the bathroom. I probably would have done this with a sponge years ago, but I was too lazy to go all the way upstairs to wet my sponge. But I did pull out a new foundation brush that was clean. So we'll just apply this with the brush. Like I said, I remember this one working okay with a brush. ABH. I used to have their foundation brush. I think I gave that one to my oldest daughter when she was here because they did make one. So I think they intended this to be used with a brush. And I think I pumped out a full pump, but this is probably going to feel super heavy because the only thing that I wear is tinted sunscreen. I would say this is maybe a hair light of a shade for me. I could probably go up a shade, but again, I don't wear foundation often, so doesn't look too bad. In person, I feel like everything looks lighter on camera just because of the beauty lights, but I could probably still make this shade work. Okay, so there's foundation. Like I said, it's gonna feel probably really heavy. I think I'll put wipes out. I think like the ABH, like the Shape Tape would have been good. Mine expired. The ABH concealer is pretty close. I used to use the Item Beauty one a lot, so we're gonna do that. It's pretty full coverage. Like I said, the ABH one's also pretty full coverage. So we'll use this. And I would have taken it around here and a little bit down here and probably a little bit up there. Probably settling. I feel like this looks bad right in here. This didn't get blended out well. Not shocked. Try and go in and get, there was like a crease on my, around my eye socket. And we'll let that hang out for a second before I set it. This already, again, this feels like face paint. Okay, cleaned my hand off a little bit. For contour, I wasn't using a lot of cream bronzer years ago. Didn't start getting into that more recently, but I did use cream contour a little bit. So we'll go in with the one that I have. This is the ABH. It's a foundation stick in mink. It's actually really good, like cream contour shade, because it's pretty cool toned. I got that from a makeup artist who was dismantling her kit. So that was one of the first ones that I used. I've had that the longest. It's still good, still works. And then I would bring the extra down my jaw. And I do still use that one from time to time, but I feel like on this, it's looking real, like I said, real full coverage. Okay, let's look at the concealer. And then I just pulled out my ColourPop No Filter. Like, this is super old packaging. They still make this product, but it does not come in this. They went to a slimmer jar. This is always a mess when I open it. I have to change my clothes after this. Again, because I don't have a sponge, I'm going to set this with a little slightly pointed fluffy brush. Kind of a loose bake where I put the concealer in like fine lines. Ooh, that's messy. Which is why I think they changed the packaging on this, because that is, I'm gonna have to change my clothes after this. I got powder all over. Okay. The only thing I didn't grab was setting spray, but I can grab one at the end. And then I did get out a cream blush, only because I was like, at one point I was dabbling with that a little bit. So before I set my whole face, just using one of Flower Beauty ones, because again, that's one of my older ones. Just because we're going real full coverage here. Give us a good base for the blush. Do my brows off camera, and then we'll finish powdering and doing the powder steps with the like face products. I just figured that was not very exciting. So I used to overdraw them a little bit. So I did that today, and we'll see. And then I used the 3.5 that I used to use, which is going to look a little funny because I have a more red color now, but we'll just roll with it. So for the rest of my face, my number 7 powder, again, this is an older one. You can see I've used this quite a bit. So this will kind of go everywhere else. And I got a couple of face palettes out. I got my Becca, the Chloe and Malika collab. And then I also got out one of my Benefit ones, because again, these are older palettes. So let's go in with the matte bronzer in Hoola, and then I'll use one out of the Becca one, because I would have done both, kind of a matte bronzer and a more satiny one. Where's that? And if you see me squinting a lot, it's because my glasses are not on. I don't have contacts in, so. Okay. So then we go in fluffier brush, because this is a more like satiny. I would have been extra and done both. And then for blush, I think I'm going to use this pink one that's in here. That's not the blush brush. There we go. Just because I always have kind of liked a glowy, a little bit glowier of a blush. The Sugar Rush one that's in the Benefit one, I think, is a little bit glowy too, so I don't think it matters. And then I'll use the Cookie highlighter out of the other one. And then I'll curl my lashes at the end. I need to go over and get a pair of fake ones just to put one on the other side, but I might just curl them both at the end. So there is the older version. Let me move some stuff and then we'll get into the new version. I have to put a lip on. I did get out because my Queen Bee expired. Suck It from Too Faced, because I would have done a liquid lip. And then, like I said, I'll probably just curl my lashes at the end for both sides. This side would have had a false lash on, but I don't necessarily want to put eyelash glue on. My eyelashes have finally like gotten long and I don't want to rip them out. So, but let me move some stuff around and then we'll get going. I have a setting spray in here so I can use that one at the end. So the first thing would be the tinted sunscreen. This is my favorite. It's a little bit glowy. It's got a little bit of coverage. And again, I just put this on with my hands. It's kind of weird with the line, but we'll do the best we can here. Okay, and then if I'm feeling a little extra, so for purpose of this video, I do go in with the serum primer, the Dominique Cosmetics. It makes me kind of sad because she reformulated her primers. I don't think she has this one anymore, but I will put this one straight on top, and it does blur a little bit, kind of smooth things out. Like I say, if I know I'm going to go out to dinner or something, I'll put this on. I don't do it every day, but will be extra. So that's the base. Feels weird to have liquid lipstick on just one side. Okay. And then we'll do concealer first, and then I'll do my brows off camera just because I like to let this sit for a minute before I do powder. And again, I don't do concealer every day. I've been using just the stick from Wander Beauty. I generally will do concealer if I'm going out in town, have to run some errands. Otherwise, I just leave it with the tinted sunscreen and then go into the rest of the steps. Blush, bronzer, all that. But we'll do just a little bit of concealer. So it doesn't cover completely, but I think it helps. Let me do my brows really quick. So again, this one's slightly overfilled. I used to overfill them more than this. This is probably like the one I was starting to cut back. And then this matches my hair better. And this is just filled in where my brows actually are. Okay. And then I will go back in, kind of pat this out. My under eye is really dry today. Okay. And then the only powder that I put on my face is just going to go right where that concealer is. This is the Mally press powder. This one doesn't seem to crease real bad. Gives a little bit of coverage. This is in the shade Light, so that's the only powder. I have a couple of different cream bronzers and contours that I use. We'll do the Hoola one and then the CoverGirl. So the CoverGirl one goes on my nose and under here, because this is more of a contour shade. Sometimes I'll put it on my cheekbones, but I don't think I need to, so we'll do the Hoola. Trying to use this one up. I have another one of these little baby sticks, so I'm trying to use this one up. Okay, and then the only brush that I use is this one for blush too, everything. So it's pretty fast. Takes me about 10 or 15 minutes to get ready in the morning. If I decide to do eyeshadow, it's probably 20, but again, I don't do eyeshadow often unless I'm gonna go out to eat or feeling like being extra that day. I try and keep it, because we're in the process of remodeling and it's busy, so I try and keep it pretty quick. So I end up just doing like blush and bronzer and calling it a day. And then I've been doing a combination of like a liquid. I have a couple of glowy blushes, and then I have some matte ones. So for the matte ones, I mix the Rare Beauty highlighter, and then like I have, this is a matte one, this is a matte one, I have a purpley one. We'll do the pink today, just because I feel like we went a little bit pink on the other side. So I'll do a dot, and all of these are very pigmented. Doesn't matter what brand. And then I do just a dot of the Rare Beauty highlighter. And then it'll make it glowy. And it'll look a little crazy probably at first, but I like it to be a little darker. If it's too light, then I don't get good staying power because it's not being set by anything. So I said it'll look crazy for a second, but it will calm down, and then it does, like I said, gives me good staying power. And then I'll put a little bit on my nose, on my chin, kind of blush draping a little bit up the temple, but and then if I feel like I got too crazy because there's nothing really on my face, I can just go in with my finger. Like I said, it will calm down. And again, it gives me good staying power. And then for highlighter, I like this is the What's Up from Benefit. Just draw it straight on. Blend it out with my finger. Sometimes I'll put a little bit on the temple, just depends on the day. And then I do set it. So I've been using the Makeup Forever 24 Hour. I think it does help because, again, the way this looks, usually it'll look like that at the end of the day. The only reason I say that is because my husband has told me, like, oh wow, like it still looks like when I first started wearing makeup every day, like we're outside working on the house, running around, and he's made comments like, oh, like at the end of the day, your makeup still looks nice. And then for lips, I generally, what do I have in here? I generally just do like a tinted lip balm. So very, very light. And then I'll curl my lashes and put mascara on both sides, and we'll look at the finished product. Forgot to do liner, but I'll show you. Like, I have a little bit of liquid liner on this side. I do keep liquid liner in here upstairs, but this is all I do. I'll just do a little bit of a line, and then back in the day I used to do the cat eye. So let me finish curling my lashes and then we'll look at the finished product. And I put my glasses back on so that I could see what is happening over here. Oh, I've got a couple of things. Okay, bring you out just a little bit. Okay, I don't think this side looks bad at all, especially from a distance. I do look very like, what's the word, snatched, I guess, but in the heat, like this is gonna sweat and break down and look atrocious. Whereas this, like I said, this side gives me a little more color, a little more life, and it's still like I can be outside and work. Much more natural, much more glowy. You'll have to let me know which side you think looks better. I think obviously this looks super minimal compared to this side because this is like full coverage city over here, but I feel like this, again, it looks healthy. It's my skin, but better. And again, I can work, and it is pretty much gonna look like this, whether I'm outside helping my husband or running around. Like, it'll pretty much look like this at the end of the day. So yeah, this is just super heavy. And it feels like I'm wearing a mask. Like I said, it does not look bad. But the problem I have with like this is at the end of the day, like it settles, like it's already, and then it makes it look like I'll get settling up here, settling here, settling here. And it looks like at the end of the day, when I go to take it off, it looks like I have full on wrinkles. So then it's aging me, I feel like. But like right now, because I just did it, looks pretty good. But you'll have to let me know. So yeah, thank you guys so much. This was fun. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. You'll have to let me know if you want to see anything else. I would like to do some eyeshadow videos soon. So yeah, let me know what you would like to see. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and hopefully I will see you in another video. Bye everybody.